Good evening and welcome to this edition of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. On the show tonight, the Prime Minister says he accepts responsibility for the CVC issue, but is the verdict nevertheless a moral indictment of the PM himself? Also, after the murder of Pakistan's minorities minister, is the country descending into chaos, and does India need to worry about that? Joining me on the programme tonight from the Congress Party senior leader Mr. Mani Shankar Iyer, who's also a Rajya Sabha MP. We have Mr. D. Raja, the National Secretary of the CPI, Mr. Dilip Padgaonkar, the consulting editor with the Times of India, and the former Attorney General of India, Mr. Ashok Desai, joins us as well. First up on the show tonight, well, the Prime Minister has broken his silence on the Supreme Court verdict that quashed the appointment of P.J. Thomas as the Central Vigilance Commissioner. Speaking in Jammu today, Dr. Manmohan Singh said that he accepts responsibility for what happened. He also said that he respects the Supreme Court judgment and that such things should not happen again. Well, the verdict itself has been a huge blow for the UPA government and for the Prime Minister in particular, since he headed the panel that selected him. Since yesterday, the Congress has actually brushed aside any criticism of the PM himself, saying the verdict is not a reflection on him personally and that the court has corrected an error. But the opposition says the responsibility does lie with Dr. Singh and wants a statement in Parliament, which the PM has said he will make. That brings us to our first question tonight. Is the judgment by the Supreme Court on the CVC a moral indictment of the Prime Minister? Let me ask Mr. D. Raja first, since you are in the opposition. The Prime Minister is today saying that he accepts responsibility. Does that satisfy you?
There is no other option for Prime Minister, because it was a decision of only two persons, Prime Minister and the Home Minister. They must own up the responsibility for appointing such a person as CVC. It is a blow to the government. It is a real indictment on the moral authority of Prime Minister, Home Minister and the entire government, because CVC is a constitutional position. How come they
But with the PM saying that he accepts his responsibility, does this close the chapter for you?
It is not the question of closing one chapter and opening up the new chapter. It will have far-reaching implications on the functioning of democratic polity in the country. Because whenever a constitutional post is filled up with persons, what is the procedure, what is the yardstick that government follows? Since day one, the leader of the principal opposition has been opposing and distancing, and she was making it clear she was not party to any decision. In such a situation, what government should have done?
And you still believe that this verdict will have a far-reaching impact on the Prime Minister's authority in particular, which is what you said yesterday.
Definitely, it is going to have far-reaching impact not only on the authority of Prime Minister, but also on the functioning of our polity, government.
So you're saying that despite what he said today, Mr. Padgaonkar, let me come to you first before we come to Mr. Iyer. What are your thoughts on the PM's comments on this?
I think we'll have to wait for the PM to make the statement in Parliament, because the two statements that he's made a short while ago, they raise more questions than answer them. For example, when he says that that he accepts responsibility, we'd like to know what are the conclusions that he draws from a statement like this. Secondly, when he says that such things will not happen again.
Should not happen again.
Should not happen again. Again, what is he hinting at? Because we must address beyond individuals certain systemic failures. And those systemic failures have been quite obvious in this entire controversy about the appointment of the CVC. So I'm not very sure whether Mr. Thomas, for example, is more sinned against than sinning. What I do know is that if there is a taint on that individual should not be tainting the integrity of the institution. But we'll have to wait and see what the PM has to say in Parliament, and then maybe we can go in for a fuller debate.
Mr. Ashok Desai, what are your thoughts on this landmark judgment?
You see, the Supreme Court has really gone into the decision-making process and not the merits of the appointment. They have been very careful about it. The two mysteries which I find are as follows. One, why did the CV not include the most troublesome part of Thomas's career? Maybe there is nothing against, no substance in those allegations. But the very fact that there are allegations is something of which the high-powered committee would have been made aware. The second point is that when Sushma Swaraj, who is a colleague and an advocate of great ability, she herself pointed out that there is a case pending against Thomas Why was there no further inquiry in the committee itself? So ultimately the finding has been that the high-powered committee has not performed its statutory duty, and that doesn't cover the government with great glory.